Welcome to the Venari Podcast. I'm Tim Hartnell, and in this episode of the Packaging CEO series, I'll be speaking with Tim Silverman. Tim is CEO of Paboco, who are revolutionizing the packaging industry with a truly circular product, the paper bottle. Tim, it's great to have you on the podcast. Thank you for joining me.
Pleasure is all my side. Thanks for having me. And looking forward to it.
Good stuff. So in this episode, we'll hear a little bit more about Paboco, Tim's journey more specifically, and then sort of leadership, a little bit about sort of what the future of the company looks like as well. So let's get started.
Sure.
Tim, do you want to kick us off? Tell us a little bit about Paboco, and how you're changing the industry for good.
Sure, gladly to. So Paboco is actually short for Paper Bottle Company, which gives you that's our full legal name, and it already gives you a very good, good overview of actually what we're doing. It's not very hard to figure out and what we're trying to do here. So it's really developing paper bottles, and we found the name actually quite fitting because you don't have to come up with a very fancy name when you're very clear in your ambition actually. And why are we changing the industry for good, or how we go about that? Well, we see ourselves as a part of a more sustainable tomorrow. So we know we'll not fix all the issues in the world, but we can be part of that. And packaging is such an integral part in our everyday life. And especially in the last years has come out of the shadow, so to say, very prominent at the forefront of the end consumer's mind. We see, of course, plastic swimming in the oceans. We have microplastics everywhere. A lot of change also going on in legislation. Everything very much focused on the end of life. And this is where our idea, using paper, which has a very established end of life, a reuse of the material, nearly global, made a lot of sense. And also highlighting much more of the resources, super great qualities like of strength, sturdiness, lightness, and of course, it being bio-based, it being renewable, it grows, just makes a lot of sense. So this is our approach on okay, how can we contribute to changing the industry for good by being a more sustainable alternative to what's out there right now.
Yeah, I love it. It's actually ironic that next to me on the screen I have one of these guys, but
I'll send you over one of those.
That's what we need. So clearly you're going toe to toe with plastics and other sort of materials out there. Do you feel like the fiber-based concept is certainly the way forwards?
Yes. So again, there's so many solutions out there, not just in packaging, but of course in other industries as well. And what we need to, I think, as a society, need to figure out is what sort of solution make the most sense. And so the paper bottle might for sure not be the most effective use for really single use mass market, or where a lot of reuse can actually happen, where plastic is an amazing material. I'm coming from the plastics industry, so I do like plastic. I'm not here to crucify that, for sure not. But to allow, again, depending on the use case, the life itself, the life cycle, there are solutions out there that are better than others, and we need to figure those out and push those forward.
Yeah, absolutely. It's coming up in conversations a lot, the material side of things, which is best. Everyone has a use case, like you said. So there's a place for everyone. It's just, some are better use cases than others. Great, let's get a bit into your sort of story, and I'm really keen to sort of hear how, I guess, you rose to the heights of, being CEO of such an awesome company.
Yes, sure. So a little bit to me, I basically grew up with packaging. Since my dad is also working in the same field, I found it always interesting, and interesting enough that I also studied process engineering for packaging in Munich. I'm German by birth. And during my studies there, I realized that I wanted to not go into the end, application or use of packaging, so to fillers, etc., distributors, but more to the packaging supplier, to the producers. Because my belief was that if I want to do like very ambitiously, young guy, of course, if I develop something really cool, I can make an impact here. And this is how I ended up working for Alpla, which is at the Lake of Constance in Austria. They have the headquarters there. It's one of the biggest plastic bottle producers. And went into the innovation and the development department, worked a lot with alternative materials to conventional plastics, very much focused on still existing technologies, again, what's coming, the trends, etc. All of that. And then 2018, the paper bottle landed on our table, on our team's table. And I saw that and I was like, okay, that's it. That's exactly what I dreamt of, or what I envisioned, what I wanted to do. This is such a unique thing. This is so immediately catching. You understand the purpose of it, what you want to try to achieve with it. It's unbelievably tactile, so it gives you, it's something different. It speaks to you. So joined then back then the startup EcoXpac out of Alpla still, who then joined to be a joint venture partner in that startup. 2020 settled over here to Denmark, where Paboco is located right now, near Copenhagen, with my husband, led product development, had a brief stint as CTO in 2023, last year. And then when our CEO stepped out of the company to pursue something else, I stepped in, saw that opportunity to drive this even more forward, to be again localized here, and to drive this team in product development. I always had these two sides, both of the internal development and innovation that needed to be driven by the market and end or customers or end consumers needs. So always already there, viewpoint of both sides of the coin, influencing how are we going to need to change Paboco's development strategy, but also informing what can we do on the market, pushing us there, pushing our clients there to accept the state that you are in as a startup, and how to go from there. So very, very exciting, and super happy that I can support the company now as its CEO.
Yeah, what a journey, and I've been following it very closely. So yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, super, yeah, awesome journey, and yeah, let's see where it goes from here. It's an interesting phase, isn't it? That's the commercialization period.
Absolutely, it's now it gets. There was a lot of work, of course, done for my predecessors, so to say, but for sure I'm not sitting in a made, or like lying in a made bed and everything is running very smooth from here. It's a very exciting time for Paboco right now to really push forward, to push into the market. The technology has come a long way from when I started, when we did a couple of bottles every day. That was more manual, I'd say, cutting, or production, manufacturing in the real sense of the word. And over the years, we have done tremendous work in automatizing and scaling the technology. And now we're at a point where, yes, it's going to be a new site. It's going to be bigger machines. The scale is there, and it's an exciting time.
So yeah, and then brings me on to my next question, which is around sort of the challenges. Obviously, with any scaling business, there'll be challenges. Have you had any with sort of, related to the sort of talent side? Have you come across challenges in terms of hiring?
Both yes and no. So the good thing is, the company is Danish based in Copenhagen, which is a great hub for, I'd say, sustainable innovation, the Scandinavian countries itself. So it makes very much sense that this came from here or developed here, and that we are continuing to be here. There's a lot of expertise sits here as well. We have some of our team are nearly 10 years with this company, coming from the original startup as well. We have developed the first prototypes and machines. So there's a lot of heartfelt conviction and really dedication to this. And this makes it on one sense, very easy to hire or very attractive because we have a very great story. We have a very great product, and we have a great, I'd say, success track. When you think about like where have we been like just a couple of years ago, and where are we now, and what are we facing? But we of course also have challenges because Denmark is a pretty stable country. We have pretty low rates of unemployment, and we have a pretty successful pharmaceutical company that tries to sweep the market because they are growing at a very, very, very high pace. I think we have for sure as a startup the startup factor for us. If you come here, especially as a young person just finished university or your studies or your education, very motivating in that we allow a lot of freedom. You are of course bombarded with challenges and responsibilities that you gladly take on if you're that type of person, and we have a very good track record of finding exactly those people that really want to dig down and develop themselves while we develop this company. On the other side, there's of course also something that I'd say, for a lack of better word explanation, lacks stability, right? It's not yet established. There's a lot of, we have pivoting that we need to do, sometimes a 180 because there's other requirements coming from outside in the market, or shareholder strategy, or just in general our strategy. Things have moved on. We've come up with a new idea. Let's explore that. So there's a lot of flexibility that is needed, which again also exciting, for some people not so much. So when we hire or when we look for talent, we have not as many applications as I think we would like, but still enough that we can really also like look for the right talent that are driven by this. Pretty young company. I think our average, we have 28 people. Average age is I think around 33, 34. So again, also young in its spirits, very driven. And I think that helps a lot with trying to compete with larger companies that have a lot of benefits that they put on there. But we have the opportunity to grow, and that's a good thing.
No, it's interesting. I think some of those companies will share that same sort of those insights, but some won't be the same, you know, in terms of that, you know, the startup culture atmosphere, and then the sort of local talent that's on your doorstep as well. Obviously, your talent. And then just finally, leadership style. You know, what is your approach to that? And yeah, obviously, startup sort of world is slightly different to the corporate outlook. Yeah, how have you sort of approached that?
When I became both CTO and then also afterwards CEO, one very important thing for me is to be basically available and approachable, because we had a leadership team on how the company was just set up, etc., that was more remote and not here all the time. So the team lacked very much a direct connection to its leadership team, which I'm trying to really establish and be there very, again, approachable. It's also very still manageable because we are just 28 people. We are working on a plethora of topics. As I also said or indicated, everyone is basically an expert. Everyone has multiple hats on and responsibilities. Everyone wants to drive the company forward. So there also needs to be a very high level of flexibility and ability to adapt in the leadership team, both from my side, but also from my leaders in finance, operations, and R&D, because we need to both be able to support the needs of the different teams, the individuals, to again both stay an attractive employer, to bring the best out of the people here as well, to be sustainable in that we retain talent, and also of course juggling what the market needs are, what topics we encounter during development. Again, this not being very like stoic and like this is the only way, etc., but trying to be more flexible, which also goes, I think, very well hand in hand with having a younger team. And again, my generation, right? We are looking for different styles of leadership or different styles in our work life as well, which is something that is important, especially in the Scandinavian countries. Denmark, work-life balance is very, very, very important. So how do you balance not working basically 24/7 or trying to do that, but still, of course, advancing in the speed that we have, is with flexibility and with trust, by giving people autonomy, making them responsible, and really also trying to communicate or to drive forward that they drive the project forward, right? It's not just, you're not a little cog, you are actually shaping the future of this company, and there is a place for you in the future here as well. You develop with your task, you develop with your expertise that you acquire, and that needs to lead to somewhere. Sometimes it's not really clear where that will lead to, but that is also exciting if you can, again, show the vision where this is going to go.
Yeah,
so,
great points there. Quite a few. I think it's having autonomy, and then but being collaborative, but then having an overarching sort of, that there needs to be a leadership, within the company.
At the end, someone needs to.
And you'll be getting pressure from, external powers as well, and then you need to be obviously the face of that movement and growth. No, really interesting. Thank you for sharing. And then just literally final sort of question. What's next for Paboco? What do you want to achieve in the next few years?
Growing. It's, I mean, what else is new, right? Who could have guessed a startup wants to grow? As I said, it's this like super exciting time now. We are on this cusp of taking this big step out of the, I'd say, garage, the development, little garage, to from a development startup into a production scale up, a production able scale up, with new lines, with a new location, starting producing, delivering, establishing this solution on the European market first, and then going from there and expanding. First in Europe, then outside of it. There's such enormous interest and need for this kind of solutions that we can't wait to get it into every hand. And it's I'd say, like a very nice problem to have, that so many are interested. So we for sure growing with strategic partnerships with bigger companies, but also like looking very much to smaller brands where our sustainable agenda or the value of the product makes a lot of sense, so that everything goes into hand in hand. And then, to build this company even further, maybe looking into other products outside of a paper bottle. Like, what else can our technology support? What else can our expertise support maybe as well? Just in general, navigating the legislation, the packaging landscape, what goes on out there. And we have strong support in the background. Alba is a global company. Copy pasting their principle or using those learnings already there makes a lot of sense. Using that network, there's great things to come. So can't wait to have a paper bottle in every hand, which is our ultimate vision goal. And yes.
Well, Dennis, I mean, how exciting is that, right? We're all rooting for you. Good luck. Sounds like you've got your work cut out, but lots of interest. So all the best, I guess, for the future. And thank you for coming on. I think people will find this really interesting to hear. So appreciate your time.
Of course, always a pleasure. Thanks for having me, for listening and showing interest. I can't shut up about this company and the opportunity, so always glad to have someone to talk to.
Cheers. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate your time. Speak soon.
Speak soon. Bye.